Hey guys, how's everyone doing? Hoping you can see this now. It looks all good on my side now. I was having a few issues getting this webinar started. Not sure what it was. I restarted my computer and my router, and it seems to be working now. But yeah, it looks okay now. So let's just jump straight into it. How are you guys doing? Today is Wednesday, the 10th of October, 2018. Time is 11:10 a.m. here in the UK. Getting a bit of a late start today. It's a lot better, man. It's still a bit sore. Still got a bit of a cold. Had a bit of a cough, but it's pretty much gone. Think I'll be fine tomorrow. Thanks for asking. Yeah, so in today's analysis, going to be looking for price action setups. Going to be looking for price action setups across all these pairs here. When I say price action setups, I mean reversals, continuations, all kinds of setups. Some stuff has already triggered. Yeah, let's get started, guys. Right, first thing, AUDJPY. AUDJPY is showing us a reversal setup, but the problem I have with this one is that there's resistance right above it. So I wouldn't really want to go long here, only to have price bounce away from that resistance area. So yeah, I'm not going to do anything with AUDJPY. AUDUSD, now AUDUSD is kind of interesting. It's currently at this low here. Was at this low a while back, but it's the first time in quite some time that it's been at that low, actually. It's not even that great a support area, but it's hard to get good support resistance areas for AUDUSD down at these lows, because it was down at these lows in 2009, briefly in the scope of the last 10 years. It was only there for 6 months out of the last 10 years. Also, 9 years. It was back down there very briefly in 2015, so actually more than 6 months. But point is, it doesn't get down to these lows very often, so getting good support resistance from down here is actually a lot tougher than it seems. So it gets a bit difficult to take trades here. I'm going to go with my rules of using the freshest data to place support resistance. So the freshest data is this bounce here. So I'm placing this area based on this bounce, but it's only placed on one bounce, so it's not super reliable as an area of support resistance. So anyway, there is potential for a continuation here, but like I said, it's not a reliable area, so I'm not too sure. I want to wait and see how this candle closes. I might be interested in trading a continuation here, but I want to wait and see how this candle closes, of course, because that's what I normally do. Now, on the 12-hour, you could, we already have the setup here, but this is already a weak setup. For starters, this is just a weak setup. Why is it a weak setup? Because price hasn't really dropped down far enough. With continuations, it's a lot better for price to drop at least 50% of the way, come back up, and then go like that. If it doesn't drop a fair way through support, then things can get tricky. Why can they get tricky? Because this could just be price stalling out on a pretty wide support resistance area. It might not even be a continuation. So look, there's a lot of factors here. I'm going to wait for the daily and see what happens. So after today's candle closes, if it closes like this, or roughly like that, I might start looking for an entry on tomorrow's candle. I might start looking for an entry as price drops down. Oh, I forgot to do the news, actually. Decided to add some more structure to the analysis. So each day we're going to be looking at news before we jump into the analysis. But I forgot that step today for some reason. Sorry about that, guys. Just bringing up the news. There's... No, it's correct. Right. So what do we have today? Treasury currency report, tentative time. I'm not too worried about that. In Bali. I was wondering why Carney was speaking at 6 a.m. in the morning. It was a bit weird. But he's in Bali, so that's why. Right, fair enough. So today we don't really have that much going on. We have the PPI, but the PPI is, unless you're trading the 1 hour charts, I wouldn't be too worried about PPI. Treasury currency report, again, unless you're trading the 1 hour or the 1 hour or below, I wouldn't be too worried about this one. Time is tentative on this one, so it could drop at any time. But obviously it's going to be during the US business day. And it could be delayed by several days. Well, anyway, I'm not really too bothered about that one. 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. Carney is speaking tomorrow. So as I always say, my rules for news are pretty simple. If it's numbers, I tend to trade straight through them. If it's a speech or a big event where there's going to be loads of people talking, that's where I get a bit more concerned, because people talking can be unpredictable. They can say things that are not expected, which can have a huge impact on the market. So let's be very careful around those times. You might want to widen or tighten your stops, however you handle stop loss placements. Generally speaking, if I'm already in the trade, I'll tighten the stop. If I have not entered the trade, I might enter with a wider stop. But yeah, that's a bit. I don't want to get into an explanation about that right now. It's a bit complex. Yeah, but that's it for the upcoming news. So let's jump back to the analysis, guys. AUDUSD, I'm going to be watching this one, looking for a potential continuation. But yeah, gonna trade this one with care if I trade it at all. Euro AUD, not much going on. I mean, it's reversed from this resistance area, but you would have had to be in that one already. Euro CAD, also not much going on. Euro GBP. Euro GBP stalling out on top of this support area. Euro GBP is trending down pretty heavily. It's hit this support area and it's stalling out. This is a pretty strong support area on Euro GBP. Price has bounced from this area a whole load of times. If we look back in just the recent past, so the end of last year and this year, we've seen a lot of bounces from this area. Heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps. Now it's hit this area again and it's stalling out. We got a nice little indecision candle. Definitely worth keeping an eye on. Potential reversal here. Hard to place a TP, most definitely. You know, our number one rule when we're about to enter a trade is to look to the left. That's the first thing we always do, look to the left. What do we see to the left here? We see a whole bunch of mess. Makes it hard to place a TP, but what can you do? If trading was easy, everyone would do it. I would just place that TP at the next resistance area. Get a nice wide stop in there. Give it some breathing room. Something like that is what I would go for if the candle closes exactly like it looks like now, which is unlikely because we've got about 11 hours until this candle closes. So we still got some time there. But let's see how this plays out. This is nice potential here, but obviously not anything you would enter right now. We need to wait for that daily candle close. If it closes then we could look at entering. For a long reversal, bullish reversal trade, yeah. Counter to the recent trend, so slightly risky trade. I would say initial target maybe 1.5R and then extend from there. EURGBP, not much going on. Kind of moving sideways. Euro USD, I mean, yeah. Again, nothing much going on. Even this one's kind of moving sideways. GBP AUD, looking at this one yesterday, did anyone enter long here for a continuation? I didn't. I didn't like the setup. GBP CAD, nothing much going on there either. GBPJPY is just bouncing in between this major area and this minor area. GBPUSD, yeah, I'm not sure what GBPUSD. Again, the issue we have with GBPUSD is that these support resistance areas are just messy. It's hard to get good support resistance right now because it's in an area where it's just not here often. So actually, yeah, the only time it's been down here in the last 30 odd years is there, post-Brexit. It's at the lows that it hit immediately after Brexit. So getting good support resistance areas is just difficult, which makes finding good setups here difficult. But to be fair, I mean, there really isn't that many good setups. It's GBPUSD is just the way it's moving the last few days has been pretty weird. So yeah, I'm not going to do anything with GBPUSD right now. At least not on the large, higher time frames. Definitely open to taking some 1 hour chart trades on the lower time frames if we get the right stuff forming. New Zealand USD stalled out on the support area, but it's just not really doing much. USD CAD, yeah, not doing much. USDCHF just moving sideways. It's been moving sideways for a little bit now. And finally, USDJPY. Now, USDJPY is a little bit more interesting. We're getting a continuation bounce from the support area. Did anyone enter long here? I shared this to the forum. Shared it to the watch list section. You're long, Ash? Nice. Yeah, this one has some good potential. You long too, Frank? Yeah. This one definitely has some potential here. But the trade's already triggered, so it's too late to get in for those of you who aren't in already. Obviously, we want to see a break of the 11340. If it doesn't break there, it's probably not going to take off. It already had an attempt to break in through there, and it failed. So another failure would probably mean it's just going to get stuck here. If it breaks through, that would obviously be ideal. 11318. Yeah, a bit of a high entry, but fair enough. Yeah, okay. Probably going to keep this webinar members only and quickly chat about this setup here. GBPJPY. It's in a range right now, so we're looking for compression setups here. There's already been a few. There was one here yesterday that a bunch of people took. I personally didn't take it because the move happened too fast. I mean, on the 1 hour, some people took it on the 1 hour. Some people entered as soon as it tapped that support area. You know, different people have different entry methods. I personally was waiting for it to fall down onto this area and consolidate, but it turned around a bit too fast. That happens sometimes, especially with these kinds of compression setups. Sometimes they'll turn around fast from the support area. But as you guys know, I'm not a big risk taker, so if it turns around too fast, I'm happy to just miss the trade. Point is, it's heading back up to resistance now. So for compression setups, what you're basically doing is trading the range. Let me redraw that. You're trading the range. Sometimes the range is nice, clear, and clean. Sometimes the range is a bit messy. This one's not a clean range. This one's a bit of a messy range. You can see it doesn't always reach the bottom before turning around. So it's not the best of ranges, but it's a tradable range. So once it hits the top of this range again, I'd be looking for a short trade. Now, it's headed up there on the 4-hour chart, also obviously on the 1-hour chart. But it seems to be a bit too slow for the 1-hour chart. So the 4-hour chart is, for the most part, where you want to look for trades here. Obviously, yesterday, the 1-hour chart would have served you much better. But I just mean overall. Overall, it looks like the 4-hour chart makes more sense for these setups. So what I'm looking for is price to push up to this resistance area and just a little bit of consolidation. So what's consolidation? Basically indecision. Price stalls out on that area, then I'll be looking for a short trade there. Been a pretty good range so far. Messy, of course, like I said, but still good in terms of where it's been, how it's been bouncing rather, or how it's been reacting to the support resistance areas. So yeah, do keep a close eye on that one. It looked like I spotted what looked like a range forming on USDCHF. It's a bit of a tricky one. Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky range, but you definitely do see some signs that it's ranging around about here. Something like that. It's worth keeping an eye on, but this one, like I said, it's tricky. Let's watch it anyway, see how this plays out. I'm interested to see how price reacts when it gets to the top of the range, if it even gets there. This one's nowhere near as good. And for now, I think that's it, guys. Are there any questions? I'm just going to check the other pairs for ranges while I wait for questions if there are any. It's more of a channel. Not a huge fan of channels. There's a lot of curve fitting when you're drawing channels. Anyway, I'm not going to keep that there. Yeah, I think that's it for the ranges. What about CAD-JPY? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a continuation here. It's not a very strong bullish trend. Well, not a well-established bullish trend, but it is a bullish trend. A new one broke out of that range and then started trending up. Indecision's not on top of support. This is more of a rebound continuation, if you want to trade it like that. Risk to reward ratio is not going to be fantastic, but it's doable. Yeah, I'm not I'm not convinced personally, but yeah, I mean, you could enter this one. Is that your question? About the continuation, I mean? The gap? Which gap? That gap? Hasn't that gap already been closed? Yeah, the thing is, the problem I have with it is if this indecision candle was lower, then your entry and stop would be down there. Let's say, just for example, you'd have a much better risk to reward ratio. The only problem I have with it is the risk to reward ratio is a bit, well, it's just not great, is it? And that's based on this area though, which, well, no, I guess it is a valid area. Yeah. All right. Any other questions, guys? My crypto trading is, yeah, I mean, it's progressing. I'm messing around with it. Cryptos are kind of not doing much lately. So it's been very, very boring markets lately. It did shoot up towards the end of last month and then came back down and then just sideways movement. Which obviously makes it a lot more difficult to get good trades, because even like, so sideways movement, you might say, oh, okay, so we can just trade, we can do some range trading, we can do 1 hour chart trading type thing. But when you drop down to the 1 hour charts, you see how wild cryptos can be with the swings. Like, it'll just move, barely move for hours, and then it'll just go boom, boom out of nowhere. So it makes it a bit difficult to trade right now. We're just not getting any real movement at the moment. And yeah, I keep seeing people drawing chart patterns. They're like, oh, we're getting into a triangle, blah, blah, blah. But I think a lot of it is just, I don't know what the word is, but I don't think that these chart patterns and stuff hold much water in cryptos. I think you're just fitting it to where price is bouncing from right now. Because a lot of people might have drawn a chart pattern like this. Oh, well, okay, to be fair, it's still bouncing from there. But the point is, sorry, I don't mean a chart pattern. I mean more like well, it is a chart pattern, a triangle, but the trend line itself. Some people might have drawn it like that, based on those two bounces. It's easy to make a trend line fit the current bounce. It's really easy to do that. You just move it around until it fits there, and then you do some creative ignoring of some of the candles, and then you're like, okay, well, see, now I see what I want to see. To be fair, it can work, but to me right now, it mostly feels like cryptos are a bit unpredictable and random with the spikes and with the moves, and they're a bit risky to trade. All right, see you later, Dave. Ether USD pretty much follows exactly what BTC USD does. It did try to break the correlation for some time, but it's doing pretty much what BTC USD does. And so is LTC USD. We need to see some sort of breakout. We need to see some sort of significant move. Because right now it's just moving in a very, very tight range with these random spikes every now and then. Don't see a lot of good opportunities is what I'm trying to say. Does that answer your question? Are you trading cryptos at the moment? Look at it on the 5 minute. It looks so weird. Yeah, I'm curious too. Don't get me wrong, the crypto markets are awesome to trade. It's just right now they're not awesome. I'm waiting for the awesome times to come back. Right now they're kind of like, I guess the best way to describe them is just dead. We need to get them, we need to see them moving again before we can get some interesting trading going on. I'm going to keep an eye on them and see. Hopefully we get something more than just this crappy sideways movement. But anyway, guys. No, it's fine, Tom. I mean, it's trading, isn't it? Same thing at the end of the day. Just a different market. What I'm more interested in is futures trading. Futures trading is pretty fun. I can't get them on TradingView. Wonder why. Oh, maybe you have to pay extra for... Oh, maybe they just don't have... I think you might need to pay extra for live futures on TradingView. Does anyone trade futures on TradingView? Yeah, they're all delayed. Oh, here we go. Yeah, you have to upgrade. Fair enough. Anyway, sorry guys, we're getting way off track here. I've been dabbling with futures more and more later. What am I talking about? Lately. Also options. I'm starting to learn options trading. All of this will, be shared on the forum with time. Options are pretty cool because you don't need stop losses for options. Trading without stop loss is a bit weird at first, but it's quite interesting. Yeah, I'll talk about that at some point in the future. Anyway, guys, I'm going to head off. Thank you for attending, and I'll see you for tomorrow's webinar.